All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol OCGN, Ocugen Inc. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors, and to all the subscribers, welcome back. Now, I do have a new ticker symbol to share with you guys. I definitely recommend staying till the end of this video because it's part of the EV sector. There's a lot of potential, and also it's within a niche of the EV sector. So within this niche, they have probably the largest market share for this niche within the EV sector, which makes them even more of a ticker symbol you definitely want to keep on your radar moving forward. So stay tuned till the end. We're going to talk more about it, the chart, and an article that I saw last week. So here we are with OCGN, Ocugen Inc. moving sideways. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's looking pretty healthy to me due to the fact that it's not just collapsing and hitting these lows down here of 140 and even 153. It's hanging out at around 181, but it is below $2. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and see what's important for this stock moving forward and what we want to look for on how it is. So it's in tug of war zone for sure. Now, the 50-day moving average is 182. As long as we're below it, we're in bearish territory, and the moment we're above it, we're in bullish territory. So that definitely needs to be crossed before the bulls can start to gain momentum. We're currently hanging out at 181, and our support here, which is the lowest point reached in the day, is 173. If that gets broken through, I'd pay very close attention to the behavior. And then the next point of reference is the lowest point reached, which is 169 after this run up and slight dip, and it's the lowest point reached within this time frame here of the sideways movement. So 169 would be the next point to look at, but before looking at that, 173, you definitely want to see how the stock's behaving, how quickly is it moving to newer lows, and are the bears tearing this one apart and bringing it down, or are the bulls trying to reappear and bring it back up within this tug of war zone? Now, for the bulls to actually have some momentum, they need to break through the 50-day moving average and resistance. And our resistance level is 184. If they accomplish that, the next point is the highest point reached in this sideways movement after the dip and recovery, and that's 195. Then they would need to focus on the next point at 197 and past the $2 range to get back up to these numbers previously in the history of the chart and see if momentum can start to be built up from there. Now, this was in a bearish trajectory for some time. It seems like 140 for now, and at this point of 150 and some change is the bottom. Now, it could pull right back down even lower if things don't start to proceed for Ocugen being the distributor of Covaxin in the US market. That's another thing that's really, holding this stock down. No new news, no new catalysts, and also the uncertainty if they're really going to have the opportunity to be the U.S. market distributor in the U.S. through FDA approval. Yes, Covaxin, Borat biotech company said, yeah, you could be the U.S. market distributor. Now, Ocugen needs to go ahead and get that approval on this end. Now, they are partnered up. That's a good sign, and I've seen a lot of great things about Covaxin. If anybody wants to contradict that or agree with me, I would appreciate your comments down below, just to further enlighten every single investor on what you've seen or what your perspective is on Covaxin. But in India, it's doing pretty well, and it's one of the top candidates. And what makes it very intriguing to investors and individuals is that it's done the traditional way, as we know that vaccines are created through a cocktail of the inactive form of the COVID-19 based off of research that I've done and articles that I've shared with everyone and that we've read together in the past. So I think that's one of the biggest things about it. But I've also seen comments that say, hey, it's going to be kind of hard to get over here. And a lot of vaccines are being rolled out by the millions already. And Moderna and Pfizer, or Pfizer, however you want to pronounce it, but it's Pfizer, is going ahead and rolling these out in large amounts that by the time Ocugen probably can be approved, the market share is still there, but it might not be as much. So I want every single investor to be aware of that as well. So 184 is a point that definitely needs to be broken through so that the bulls can work their way up and start building some momentum. So I want every single investor to be aware of that, and it needs to be broken through to pull away from the 50-day moving average. As always, if you found this video and these cues helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Stay tuned till the end because I have a new ticker symbol you won't want to miss, and you definitely want to add to your watch list. So for everyone that has stayed to this point, the ticker symbol I'm about to share with you guys is definitely one you want to do more research on and you want to watch carefully. Now, it's in the EV sector and it focuses on a specific niche, and I've been watching it for a few days, and an article came out on Friday that gave me even more of a confirmation why this one's going to have potential in the long term. I'm not too quite sure how we need to play it out in the short term because it is kind of hyperinflated in a little bit, and it was going downwards and it just bounced back up, and I definitely want to recommend to every single investor, watch it carefully. So the ticker symbol is ACTC, ArcLight Clean Transition Corp. So here we are with how it reacted when the merger was announced. It went from $12 all the way up to $31. It started to pull back, and this pullback was looking healthy. Now it bounced right back up, and this could be the overall market reaction because the whole market had a slight jump, and it jumped $4, almost $3 and some change, $4 from the lows here. So right now it's sitting at 26.29, and I definitely recommend watching it if it breaks through 2050 and also 2015, right? 22.15, excuse me. Those are the 2 points of support levels to watch carefully moving forward, and we want to see if this continues to pull downwards after this slight jump, or does it consolidate up here, and is it creating the anticipation leading towards the merger? Now, after the merger is something to watch as well. I've seen a lot of these mergers happen so far, and they actually start to have pullbacks as well afterwards. But in the long term, this is definitely a stock to keep in mind and watch carefully because they have a large market share who ACTC is going to merge with. Let's see this article here. So this is the article that came out on Friday. Yesterday I was going to do videos, and I actually was going to do videos on Friday. I've had a few hiccups, and I apologize for that to every single viewer and investor, but I'm glad that I'm still able to proceed with this information, and it's still one to definitely watch and keep in mind. So when I saw this article from Investor's Place, the heading was why investors should pass on ArcLight for now. The key words here to me that stand out is should pass for now. And that's fine. You want to add it to your watch list though, and you want to keep an eye on it and see how it's reacting because this sector has potential. And this is who they're merging with, Proterra. ArcLight has agreed to merge with Proterra. Well, now that they have agreed to do that, who you should do more research on is Proterra. Now, from what I've seen, they've been around for over 10 years, and they have a large market share in the niche that they do. And what do? They are an electric bus maker. Now, if you guys have seen Arrival and how things are happening in Europe, I could see Proterra being the one in the US market. That's the one in Europe market, Arrival. I could see Proterra being the one in the US market. I'm not sure if Arrival will arrive into the US market. For as long as it doesn't, Proterra has an upward, hand on this one. So over the long term, it basically says Proterra should do very well. That's a good sign. Now it talks about, the pandemic and so forth, why it's not recommended to buy ACTC anytime soon. Now, ArcLight has agreed to merge with Proterra. So when they say this anytime soon, but they say over the long term, it should do very well, and then I see should pass for now, it makes sense that this is the time to watch it. You really want to keep it on your radar and see how it moves. And now we have time to do due diligence as investors and research to know more about Proterra. So if anybody knows more than me or anything else or wants to share any articles or even this article, if you find it, you can post a link down below in the comments so that other investors are aware. But I would definitely start with this one because just the beginning kind of throws you, the good and the bad. And then as you continue to read, it talks about the good and the bad, and all of a sudden the good outweighs the bad because it tells you all the great things of Proterra and who they are and how they're working and what they plan on doing moving forward. Now, why do I see potential in this stock moving forward? And I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold any position in it, but I am here to enlighten you guys on adding this to your radar and keeping a close eye on it. Well, right now we are in the pre-merger, hype and stuff, and after the merger things might cool down again, and we need to see how far down it cools down, and also what's the anticipation leading into the merger. Now, why is this a great one? Well, the fact is that electric bus makers have a lot of potential just based off of the school system. Think about that nationwide. And then public transportation system. Think about that nationwide. There's enough to go around there for them to go ahead and make these buses and receive a lot of purchases and orders over time. So I look forward to how things continue to move, and especially with legislation being passed and going greener and EV becoming more of a norm rather than a luxury or taboo, it's going to change everything about the whole sector. And the fact that this focuses on a niche within the EV sector, which is electric bus makers, and this is one of them, and they have a large market share in that niche, I could see a lot of potential for this one. So definitely want to add to your watch list. ACTC, it's going to merge with Proterra. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, let's make some money.